Hello, hello, hello. Hey friends, how are you doing? Svava Brooks here. If you're watching this replay, thank you so much. As always, good to be here with you. My name is Svava Brooks. I am a trauma recovery coach, and I love to hang out with my fellow survivor thrivers as we are being very intentional about our healing journey, right, friends? One day, one page at a time. And these days, I'm supporting my readers through my journey to the Heart book and with my brand new audiobook also. So whether you are reading the book or listening to the audio or here because you have questions about healing or trauma, I welcome you. Glad to be here with you. And if you're here with me live, please say hello. Please let me know that you are here so I can welcome you. Hey, Lady Leo. Hey, Rob. Good to be with you all. And of course, I will put some links underneath this video after if you're curious and would like to learn more about the coaching that I offer. And svavabrooks.com is my website. But the topic of today comes from day 21 this year, right? And the topic is, this was a big one for me, the trauma abuse that you suffered as a child. Not your fault. Not your fault. Makes sense that it isn't, but I had no idea how deep rooted that toxic belief was in my heart of hearts. So it took some digging out to do, and we are going to talk a little bit about that today, but we're always starting right here, right now. Hey friends, how are we doing? I've missed you guys. I see Rob, UK in the house, Lady Leo. I'm doing better now, Lady Leo here with you guys. Lynn, hey friend, EJ is here. Good to see you. And Sue, hey friend. How are we? How are we doing? I don't know about you, but yesterday I was glued to the screen, tears streaming down my face. Sigh of relief over here. Yeah, the whole gang is here, right? So how are you guys? That's how I'm doing. And I've been looking forward to being here with you all today. Nice. You look like we about to have fun, but do some hard talk. Yes. Yes, my friend. And that's it. We try to do both, right? Connecting with each other, having fun, while also having some heart to heart, because we are here to heal, talk about the healing journey, talk about how we are moving forward one baby step at a time, one breath at a time sometimes. Hey, EJ, I see you, my friend. I see you. I'm glad you're here. Yes, anybody go ping Denise and Elizabeth? I know I'm keeping you guys on your toes lately. I'm a moving target these days. But I decided to post on our usual places on Facebook and hope that people will find us here. So still processing the madness. Emotions are so confusing. Yes, they can be for sure. Lynn says, I feel a little lighter knowing there's a change in the administration, a little hopefully. Yes, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Right? But I'm with you. Things feel a little lighter. So good. And remember, this is a safe place. Come as you are. I'm never going to ask you to pretend to be anything other than where you're at and what's going on for you. And please, my friend, let us know if we can support you. We are known just to pause whatever topic was meant for discussion of the day, just to turn our hearts and attention to anyone who needs some extra support. That's what we're here for. We lean on each other, right? I'm rocking side to side, pretending you're here with me. Some days we need support. Sometimes we are giving support. Feels like the energy has shifted, says Lynn, walking around in public. Lynn says, I just lean. There you go, Lynn. Well, we appreciate you leaning in, continuing to show up, my friend, continuing to show up. So the topic of today, like I mentioned, right, in the book, and on our day 21, and please let me know if you can relate. I'm pausing here to read Rob's comment. Yes. I hear you. Felt like a new dawn spirit. Yep. I hear you, Rob. I hear you, my friend. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So, the abuse that I suffered, I don't know about you, was not my fault, was not your fault, never will be, never was, not then, not now, not ever. But, right, like I started our video with here, it makes sense, right? I know that as an adult, I knew that. But it was tricky to kind of dig out that toxic belief because it was holding hostage a lot of other beliefs that I had about myself. Because my abuse started when I was so young that I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was going on. It was confusing. No one was speaking about it, right? And this is what we know about our nervous systems, right? We will do whatever we can to survive our environment. And this is where our bodies and our nervous systems are powerful. Always, always, always doing the best they can to keep us safe. Whether, right, it is literally disconnecting, just checking out, leaving the body even, which I know I did. Have memories floating out of my body, and was pretty cautious not to tell anyone for a while, like well into my healing. And until I started reading stories from other survivors where they were like, yeah, I checked out. Yes, I left my body. Yes. And that we know that that can happen also when someone has a serious accident, right? Some serious traumatic event that literally is what your nervous system does. Because perceived and real threat will, your biology takes over. So, but like I said, what it left me with was this toxic shame that it was my fault. I was bad. So, and so, yes, I did whatever I could to just survive and not face that. Like I said, it wasn't until I started my healing and started turning towards the body, trying to understand the war sort of going on inside of myself, and that some of that war was because of misinformation. And then to understand why it was there, making sense of it, making sense of why I would think that and why I felt that way. EJ, do whatever to survive or just give up. I hear you. I hear you. So anyone else, can you guys relate? Right? Did you grow up perhaps or have felt on your journey, your healing journey, in some ways responsible for what happened? Hands up. And we do whatever we can to survive. And this is actually a coping strategy, right? No matter how toxic, it is a coping strategy, because as children, we realize that if I blame myself, there is maybe something I can do, because we know we can't control the adults. But if I think about, it's my fault, maybe I'm the bad one here, then maybe if I just work harder, right? It ties you into some kind of hope, right? If I just work harder, if I'm just better, good enough, please, everyone, right? Make everybody happy. Be a good girl. Don't cause any problems. Sue says, definitely whatever went wrong was my fault because I was wrong. Yes, I hear you, Sue. You're not alone, Sue. Can anybody else relate? Right? So in a way, it is, it's a creative strategy, right? From coming from, immature point of view, kind of black and white, either or, in the face of not having anyone to process. But just like Sue is sharing, this sets us up for a life of whatever went wrong, anything that went wrong, right? We end up feeling responsible. Yeah. And then that sets us up for playing Litmus perfect, or, pushing ourselves constantly to try harder. We try harder or we collapse into completely giving up, right? Because, and those are actually also the nervous system responses, right? Your sympathetic is the push, 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 push. And then when we collapse into hopelessness, depression, it doesn't matter what I do, I can't do anything. It's the other side of our dorsal vagal, the freeze response. So I felt that inherently default setting. Yes, Rob, I hear you, my friend. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, friend. Good to see you. Good to see you. And so, my friends, taking a deep sigh. Hey, Claudia. Hey, friend. How are you? We have Switzerland in the house. Miss you too. How are you, my friend? It's been forever. Yes, Rob, Elizabeth, you heard the call. How are you doing, Claudia? How are you, my friend? And I was just about to say, as I place my hand on my heart here, and if what I am sharing is stirring your heart a little bit, good to see you too, Claudia. Then please, I invite you to place your hand on your heart. Turn towards yourself with kindness. With kindness. Because just like I said, when we didn't have helpful adults, good, to help us sort out, then unfortunately as kids, we turn it on ourselves. And then it sets us up with an impossible battle, trying to figure out what we did wrong. And like I had shared earlier, I had to hear this for a long time, like a broken record, my friends. The broken record I can sometimes be because I needed to hear it. And this is where we need each other. We need a support of other survivors on the journey, where we need to be reminded that when we feel broken, feel stuck, we feel like there's something wrong with us, that there isn't. There isn't. There's nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you, my friend. Your nervous system, your body is always doing the best it can to protect you, to keep you safe and conserve energy. Claudia, I have a puppy. Yay! What kind of puppy? Puppies are the best. And they are exhausting. Whew, right? They say, have a puppy, right? Have a puppy. It would be fun. Puppies are a lot of work. Okay, I can't even pronounce that. Bichon Havanese. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to have to look up a picture of that. It sounds familiar, but I need to see it. Nice. Okay. All right, Claudia. I'll go look that up. So what I wanted to ask you, my friends, a lot of work, right, Claudia? Yes, that's right, Rob. 4 a.m. and they're howling. Yep. So the question that I'm going to put out and share if you like, and of course you don't have to if you don't feel like it, but what belief do you feel like perhaps you have about yourself that comes from this place, right? That comes from this place of you feeling like it was your fault, you did something wrong, and I'm basically pulling it back to underneath a lot of that can be shame. When I finally realized what was happening, I felt incredibly shameful. Again, feeling responsible. I felt bad, really bad about myself. And so then the beliefs that tied into that shame. So what beliefs do you feel are you learning today on your healing journey may be tied to the story that you told yourself as a kid, right? That whatever happened was your fault because you were fill in the blank, right? Not enough in some way. Thank you, Claudia. She says, I just believed I was nothing. I was worthless. Sue says, not being lovable. Yeah. I people please, over apologize, and feel I'm in the wrong or fear to stand up to people, says Rob. I hear you. I hear you. That I was a burden. That's the way I was, that's the way I was sent away. Woof. I'm not enough if I'm not overproductive. Yes, Elizabeth. Yes, exactly. That I don't matter. Yes. Oof, my friends. Just reading that, I can feel the weight of those things here on my heart. And then if we look back, right? Like what really kind of set this in motion for me in terms of understanding that impact, right? I have my little girl here, my inner child. I always keep her close because I'm often sharing how I've connected with her when I'm working with my private clients, and I share how I've talked to her and what I've learned from my little girl. But in the beginning, when I was starting to wanting to heal this impact, right? Like I said, in my head, I knew it wasn't my fault. But understanding how horrible the weight of those beliefs. So looking at her, oh, I love hearing that, Claudia. But when I looked at pictures of her, right, and imagine what it was like growing up, thinking she wasn't lovable, thinking that she was a burden, thinking that she wasn't enough unless she was, cleaning or doing something helpful, getting good grades or trying to get good grades, or right, just trying to be, of service and somehow. But how much pain for a little girl. And I'm turning this back to you guys, right? Sue, right? Not being, from a very early on, growing up, not feeling that you mattered, that you were lovable. Yeah, that was hard, very hard. And she was a hard nut to crack, so to speak, because she really didn't trust me, didn't trust anyone, because she thought all adults would feel the same way about her. And so the person who needed to hear, the part of me that needed to hear, it wasn't your fault. You're not bad. You didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't your fault then. Not now, not ever. She is the one who needed to hear it over and over and over and over and over again. And making her a priority in my life now. That's why I keep her picture close. It's like, hey, baby girl, I see you. I feel you. I got you. And anytime something happens and she's like, oh, we're in trouble. See, we aren't good enough. Right? And I can tell her, hey, sweet girl, I know why you think that. I know that why that fear lives inside of you, but I got you. This adult world here, I'm handling it. You don't have to worry. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. You're okay. We didn't do anything bad or wrong. And even if we make mistakes, it's okay. I can handle it. And slowly I let her feel my warmth from my hand on my heart. And that's how, right? She would show me, come up with past experiences. But remember this, what this happened, I was bad. I would tell her, nope, not your fault. Not your fault. And then she would bring another memory, but remember this, right? If people knew this, they wouldn't love us. They would turn away from us, tell us we're bad. Nope. Nope, not your fault. Not your fault. And I would tell her, no matter what you say or do, I will never stop loving you. Hey, Claudia. Hey, friend. We're with you. I hear you, EJ. I hear you. I hear you, my friend. And if you can, slow down your breathing. If your heart is racing, breathe in nice and slow for 4 to 5 counts. Hold your breath for just 1 or 2, and then slow your exhale. Inhale for 4, 5. All right. So what is it? What do you notice with your heart rate, your heart racing? What else are you noticing about your body? Your heart is racing, and what else are you noticing? I hear you, Elizabeth, right? For so many of us, we are so used to keeping busy, right? If we're not working, then we're cleaning. If we're not cleaning, we're doing something else, right? Because expectation of getting into trouble if we slow down or if we stopped, right? We have to be productive. We have to be doing something. But as humans living in these bodies, it's an imperative that we learn to slow things down, that we give our bodies a chance to rest. Your heart, Claudia says, my heart is bleeding. I'm sorry, my friend. Sorry to hear that. I'm rocking side to side. Slowing down my breath. Wasting time was bad, says Sue. Yep. Yep. Right. And then, because for some of our nervous systems, right, it's like if the perception of slowing down is bad or I'm going to be in trouble, then we're going to stay here. And then it becomes habitual, a way of life. And what we are wearing out is literally all right, my friend EJ. Here, let's do a little tapping. Let's cross our hands over our chest. I'm laying my hands underneath my shoulders. Tapping back and forth. Nice and slow. Crossing the midline, activating both sides of our brain. I can slow down and be okay unless I'm processing old stuff. Then in my mind racing, it won't let me slow down. Yep, exactly, right? Your nervous system goes up. You are being activated. Your nervous system goes online, spiking. Your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, gets activated. Again, crossing my arms here, across my chest. Tapping slowly back and forth. And what I'm doing here is, we know the ventral vagal part of the vagus nerve that helps us to socially and connect, social engagement, connecting with relaxing, resting, and digest is here. So we're tapping on that now. 10 to 12 times. One more time. My hands, crossing them over, just underneath my shoulders. Let me know how you're doing, EJ. Hey, Sharon. Good to see you. We will, my friend. We will. Thinking of you. Sending you lots of love. Lots of love. So like now, I can't slow down no matter how I try. I hear he was only good to you because he was grooming you, but my heart says no, he was good to you. I hear you. I hear you. Lady Leo, I hear you, my friend. I hear you. So sorting out, right? Sorting out who people were and their behavior, right? And some of this is hard to do when our sympathetic nervous system is activated. Then that's the first thing to do, is to tend to our nervous system, tend to our bodies, to know, right? To do our best to come into this moment. And my favorite mantra that I used to hang on for a long time was to remind myself, this is now, right? That was then, this is now. Yes, exactly, Sue. That's the confusion. Nobody is all bad. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Absolutely. Very, very confusing. So, who they were, what they did, separate things. Thank you, Sharon. Take good care. I'm glad you stopped by. Take good care, my friend. And then, right, and sometimes these people are, right, sometimes they're, good to different people, and they treat people differently, which is also very confusing. When we grow up and we see people differently, it's confusing because I don't have a reference of the man that abused the others. Yep. Yep. I hear you, Lady Leo. I hear you. I hear you. Right? And it's like for so many of us, when we come forward talking about a person that did something to us and no one else has seen that side of that person, and then disregards our truth or what we're sharing. Confusing indeed. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And so it's like when we learn some things about people that we thought were good and that were good to us, and maybe they weren't good to others, right? It breaks our hearts. Yes, it is hard. It is confusing. And it's for some of us, right? It's that innocent fantasy, or right, our perception maybe painted this, this picture of this person, right? And then to sort that out and to remember that no one is all bad. No one is also perfectly good and divine all the time, right? And life is full of these paradoxes, right? But again, often for us, when we get tipped into this confusing place, it's also when we're in the fight or flight, which there is no paradox. It's either this or that, either or, black or white. Yes, Lady Leo, absolutely. Survivor's remorse. Yep. Yep. There you go, Elizabeth. Exactly. I'm so sorry, Elizabeth. Yeah. Yes. And, if and I was talking to someone today about, people that are narcissists, right? The gaslighting and the confusion that they very intentionally plant and place around us. So it's like then we question ourselves. We're constantly questioning ourselves. It's hard. It's hard. So the best we can do is to do our best to honor our feelings, our truth. And if there is somewhere our gut feeling, it doesn't feel right, right? Like, explore it. What is this about for me? What is this about for me? And I mean, just looking on my stepfather, I mean, there were things about my stepfather that he taught me that are still part of who I am. And And I love those parts of myself, right? And that was also the piece that I had to make peace with about myself, that just because I learned some things that I like and don't want to give up, does that mean I'm like that person or that I'm bad too? Right? It's very confusing. And then, right, and then for me, it's like this was the father, the only father that I knew. And as a little girl, I loved my father. I didn't like the things he was doing, right? So there was a lot of grief, a lot of sorting out, right? But she was terribly confused, desperate for love and connection, validation, to be, be seen and heard and acknowledged by her caregivers. And because of that wanting, that longing to be connected, like felt like I must have been my fault. I did something. I didn't run away, right? Claudia, your inner child also coming out sometimes. Yes, Claudia, not as much as she used to, because now I'm her parent and her protector. But I know there are certain things that happen in life that I always have to be on the lookout, that she will be especially afraid if I'm moving, right? Or if I'm doing something new, right? Talk about she being like making a lot of noise inside of me when I started doing YouTube videos, like live streams, hanging out with you guys. She would be like, "What are you doing? Don't do it. This isn't safe. They're going to judge you. You're not good enough. You're not perfect enough. No one is going to come anyways. No one cares." So anytime, right, there's something new or big change in my life, she comes up. It's like, "Are you sure?" And then I turn to her. "Hey, baby girl, remember, I'm the adult here. I got this." And I tell her, "Yeah, you can probably feel my nervous system a little bit, because this is new and it's exciting, but a little scary too. Yeah, we're risking being seen and heard, and it's a little vulnerable being our imperfect selves out there. But I'm gonna trust. I'm gonna be okay. And it's not on you. I got this. I got you." And that's how I will take care of her, Claudia. But I often say, if we look around, the adults around us, we often see grown-ups acting like toddlers, acting like teenagers, right? Because their inner parts are acting out, waiting for someone to step in to parent them. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, that was hard. It was. Hey, Claudia, got a new neighbors, and I'm very anxious. I hear you. Of course, Claudia. Of course. Maybe you can spend some time with her. Let her know that you're going to protect her. You're going to do your best to protect her and keep her safe. Right? That having new people close can be scary. Yeah. And exactly, it's important that we don't, ignore or make our inner child wrong for having their feelings, because that was our world. We had all these feelings and no one to share them with. And that's, again, where we felt like I'm a burden, there's something wrong with me. So, Elizabeth, I'm wondering lately if I can suggest therapy to a narc mother. She pours her anxiety over me and I wish she stopped. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. That is hard, my friend. Hey, EJ. Hey, EJ. I hear you, my friend. I hear you. That's your nervous system letting you know it feels a little overwhelmed right now. If you can, EJ, if you can stand up and walk around, feel your feet on the floor, ground a little bit. Please be gentle with yourself, my friend. And if you can, maybe place your hands in some water, put cold water on the top of your face, ice cubes, and an ice cube back here. And if you can, just, find a way to reground you. What's your favorite essential oil? Grab one perhaps from your shelf. I hope that shifts for you. And Elizabeth, that you might want to offer that as a suggestion just to support her, and you can present that as a way for her to get the support she needs. Making it a very positive thing. Obviously, wouldn't present that as something that is bad or negative, but like, wow, sounds like you really could use some support. It's so important that you get support with this, right? That if she would find someone else to share all that with, because should not be you that she's dumping all that on. So exactly, Elizabeth, right? Lady Leo, for the first time, I'm angry with my mom because maybe she had said, why didn't go Virginia anymore? I would have told her what was happening to me in North Carolina. I hear you, Lady Leo. I hear you, my friend. That is hard. That is hard. And I can relate because I was probably more upset with my mom for a long time than I was my stepfather, which doesn't make any sense. But then again, it maybe does make sense. But I worked through that as well. And as some of you guys know, right, I've worked through a lot of that with her. And just a few days ago, we were actually talking about that. And so I'm incredibly grateful that I've had a chance to have some really hard conversations with her. But once I realized, I had put her on a pedestal, that she was the most amazing mom ever and couldn't do anything wrong. And then when I started my healing and I realized she could have done something, she could have saved me, she could have got me out of there, and she didn't. I was very angry about that. So, and so I understand, my friend Wanda, Lady Leo, if you maybe with your therapist can write your mom a letter, right? Are you talking about the last one, the one I just did with her? I know that lady, I think you saw an interview that I did with my mom just last week. Yeah, that interview was, I was talking about the polyvagal theory, because my mom is an autism expert and has her Facebook page and website in Icelandic, where she's working both with professionals and parents that have kids on the Asperger spectrum. And so she was asking me questions about my son and how I've helped connect with David, because he's come a long ways. But when he was younger, he was very resistant and struggled with learning, and social engagement was really hard for him. And he struggled with language and reading. And so I know that my healing journey and me working with my nervous system and understanding my nervous system helped me to relate to him and understand what was going on inside of him. So she wanted to interview me and ask me some questions as a parent and how I've connected with David. So that's what that interview was all about. So, and I've actually had few parents that have come to my TRE online group classes to basically better understand their nervous system so they can co-regulate their highly anxious children. Because I knew from TRE, once I learned how to work with my body and slow down my breath and drop in and feel grounded and present, that my nervous system was, like I said, co-regulating my son. I watched him calm down in front of me. So instead of me being like anxious when he would come anxious, that I would get anxious with him, I would just sit back and slow down my breath and just listen, open my posture. I would smile at him, make him feel seen and heard, and his nervous system would calm down. And so, as you guys know, I'm super excited sharing that information, because I think our bodies are amazing, amazing superpower we have inside. But the hard part is it takes time. Takes time to rewire our nervous system. But we are always looking for someone to co-regulate. We are always pinging someone to help us come back. So that was a very long answer to your question, Lady Leo. But so we might do that in English, but for right now, we only have it in Icelandic. So, but like I said, if you know anyone that is interested in learning about the nervous system, and also I mentioned, being a parent of Asperger's and children with, any disability or delay, or that just function differently. It is very helpful. Even, obviously parents of kids that have had trauma, that if we can help our bodies first, we are also helping our kids. So, and that is interesting, actually. More and more in my groups, I'm getting parents, and actually parents and children together. So my friends, our time is almost up here today, but coming back to sorting out what happened, what did I make it mean, right? in the absence of helpful adults, we make up beliefs about ourselves. We make up stories about ourselves. And usually those stories are negative and then feed those toxic beliefs that there's something inherently wrong with us. And so how do we change? We work with our nervous system. We understand our body, understand the polyvagal or the stress curve, do our best to track our state, do our best to learn some helpful tools to intervene, self-regulate. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? And is it happening now or is it from the past? And it takes, having to be very, very proactive. And I know, honey, my friends, I say, honey, I know it can feel like exhausting at times, but my friends, it is worth it. Claudia, my friend, I am here Thursdays, same time right here. I'm here usually 3 Thursdays a month. And since I missed last week, I am going to be here next week. I was trying to look up the calendar date for next week to tell you. And let's see, next Thursday is going to be the 28th. So same time, same place. And if you subscribe and hit the bell on the subscription button, you will get notifications when I go live. So please join us anytime. We would love to support you. It's so good that you're here. And let's see, I pulled the perfect card for us today. One day she woke up and infused joy into her life. And so this will be your assignment this week. How can we infuse joy into our life? The fastest way, they say, the fastest way to joy is through gratitude. So if this week, one thing per day, what are you grateful for? Right? Feeling joy more and more often? Yep, I hear you. Excellent. Me too. Lady Leo, so far from joy right now. I hear you. I hear you. One thing you're grateful for, Lady Leo. And right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm grateful for you, my friend. I'm grateful for you, Lady Leo. Sue, joy in singing. Yep. Definitely, I'm finding joy in creativity right now, my painting. I hear you, Lady Leo. Dropping into my heart and sending you lots of love. I think Rob brought all of us joy today with his videos. The video commentary, Rob, brings us joy. Anybody else? If you can't think of anything right now. So thank you again, my friends, for being here. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy. Yes, Sue, sunshine, playing with my dogs, is Claudia. Beautiful. Yes, brought you joy being out today, says Rob. Have a great weekend. Great weekend to you, Lady Leo. Hope you're feeling better. EJ, keep grounding, keep grounding, keep grounding. All right, sweet friends. See you next time. Bye, all.